Hi, this is Klaus from Electronics Unmessed. We want to design a dial for our self-made display instrument. I'm going to tell you a few tricks to get a real professional look. And you can also use the method to implement your own ideas. In previous videos I explained how to build an analog gauge yourself. The design is of course a matter of taste, and I think you might have your own ideas for creating something special with this concept. I chose a retro design simply because I like that style. The DIY display instrument is fully functional, and in addition it has a decorative effect. It is relatively large, the diameter is almost 20 centimeters, however the concept is suitable for smaller designs as well. By the way, the stepper motor can cover a larger angle if you want to. We covered everything: the concept, the hardware with an Arduino board, the programming in C++, the construction of the stylish casing, and the 3D printing. I only used inexpensive standard hardware to build the display instrument. The Arduino sketch and the files for the 3D printing are available for download. I will link you to the corresponding videos in the upper right corner. We are still lacking a nice dial for our instrument. For the video demos I have already inserted a simple percentage dial, and I think it doesn't look bad at all. But today I want to share a few tips and tricks with you to create a professional looking dial yourself. You have endless possibilities to shape the design. If you are an artist, you might even be able to draw or paint one yourself. In the old days, the dials of such display instruments actually used to be hand painted. I must admit, I'm not reaching the artistic level to paint a dial by hand. I need a few technical tools to do that. You can probably use any drawing and painting program for this purpose. Today I'm showing how Excel and PowerPoint can be used for this. If you want to read values on a dial, it is advisable to draw a scale. In principle, it consists of an arc of a cycle and some radials that are perpendicular to the arc. But positioning the radials is not really easy. So I will show you a method using Excel to draw the lines exactly. Excel has a feature to create graphics which we can use very well here. My scale is supposed to cover 100 degrees on the dial. And therefore I write the value 10 in 10 cells. In another cell I write the value 270. Sorry, it should actually be 260 here, but that doesn't bother us, the principle still works. The scale on the dial is then slightly smaller than 100 degrees, namely 360 divided by 370 times 100 degrees equals 97 degrees. So folks, be careful with the numbers if you want to cover exactly a certain angle with your scale. Then we take the series of numbers and make a pie chart out of it. Now we set a suitable line thickness. By the way, you can also use the fill colors of the pie chart to create beautiful dials. I have used the principle to create a scale for an RSSI meter. I show how you can build it in a previous video on my channel. But I'm going back to the line graphic again. Next we enter the value 5 in 20 cells. Then we enter the value 2.5 in 40 cells. I think you're already guessing how this could become a scale for our dial. Now we simply copy these graphics and paste them into a PowerPoint presentation as a PNG image. In PowerPoint, you can process the PNG images as follows. We overlay the three images and add a circle. Now you can cover parts of the graphic with circular areas. I first draw the circle areas in blue so that I can position them. In the end, I just replaced the blue color with a white fill color. Now we already have a scale with an accurate division. For my purposes, I changed it again a bit, but I think you got the idea how this works. The trick is always the same. You cover lines that you don't need with white areas. I put the pictures and white masking areas on different layers to create a more complicated drawing. PowerPoint is particularly well suited for labeling because it offers a large selection of fonts. I'm trying out a few different fonts because I want the fonts to go well with our design. Then we add a version number and a serial number to make it look really professional. This way we have a chance to find the plans for it later. In my case, I like to have my little pixel monster and the channel name on the dial. Next, I copy it to a new page as a PNG image and scale it to fit my pointer. Then I overlay my casing design that I created earlier in PowerPoint. You can already get a good impression how the display instrument will look like. If you want something more appealing, you can also add pictures and symbols. I will show you an example of this. Since this is an air pressure scale, symbols for rain and sun would fit quite well. Increasing the image transparency makes the symbols a bit less dominant. Here are 3 more tips. First, position markings help to position the dial exactly on the base plate. Second, with an image processing program such as GIMP, you can cut out the digits from the image. That means you can remove the white background and then put the digits and the scale in front of any arbitrary image. You could also invert the colors, which sometimes looks really cool too. Third, you can also import and display an image of your dial in FreeCAD. In this way, you get a realistic 3-dimensional impression of what the display instrument will look like. Next, I have a few more ideas. This is a dial with a logarithmic scale division. You can use it to represent values between 1 and 1 billion. The scale is also created with Excel. The next design is very minimalistic. As you can see, a background image could give a meaning to the bar. Here is another one with simple icons. And here is another dial that shows the phases of the moon. Do you have own ideas? Write me in the comments below. Of course, a beautiful dial is enhancing our Maker project, especially when it is individually designed with a professional look. With the first Arduino code, I realized an audio volume meter. I will certainly try some more uses for the gauge, and of course I will also publish the corresponding Arduino sketches. You will be the first to know if you subscribe to the channel. Now stay tuned and don't forget to support the channel. See you soon in the coming episodes.